Hello everyone and welcome to yet another Against the Storm update preview live stream. Greetings everyone, my name is Łukasz or Luke and I'm a community manager at Eremite Games and I'm joined by Michał or aka Telhurin.
Hello everybody, nice to have you here.
Michał is the lead developer and the only developer really. So yeah, let's give him a proper welcome chat. Thanks once again for joining us today, and special thanks to everyone who also watched our previous live streams with Aaron and Natalia. Do we have such people here even? It's like you're Pokemon collectors collecting all Eremite Games developers on stream. We'll be starting soon. Please let me know if there are any technical issues during the stream, if there are any sound problems, stuff like that. We're still tweaking it with every stream. And yeah, we'll be playing the new update, the camps update part 1. We'll explain why it's called part 1, but there's really not that much to explain. Okay, so Michał, let's move to the game. We are right now on the world map. What difficulty level are you going to play today?
Everyone says that it's hard to play on stream, so we'll get something mild. Maybe, I don't know, 15. Just so we don't get overwhelmed by the last modifiers. This caravan looks fine. We have crystallized dew, which could be very useful on the cursed royal woodlands. Let's take plantation parts. It's quite good. It's always better to take roots, in my opinion.
Okay, so the update is going live tomorrow. We usually release them between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. UTC. Before the update goes live, make sure you're ready and you have your settlement finished. Otherwise, it will be first finished and you will get some Citadel resources in return. Okay, so yeah, let's play something not too difficult, maybe 15. True.
So if you move the our faces a bit, we can show the first feature that, well, maybe not a feature improvement that we did in this update. So we had a lot of back and forth with this panel because there are actually quite a few modes people want this Woodcutters Camp to work, and the drop-down option wasn't the best choice. I must admit that. So in this update, we moved to a bit larger, but should be more comfortable type of panel where you can pick any of the 5 modes and propagate it with shift to other camps. So, in my opinion, the most useful and the most comfortable is the third one, the avoid glades except marked. So we'll go with that. And like always, you can pick it in the default value in the options, but I'm playing on the Natalia account, so I have our settings.
Okay, so dear viewers, if you have any questions during the stream, please let us know. We'll try to answer as many of them as possible. Okay, so the first question from Mr. Bacon Strips. Can you make it default option if you consider it the most useful?
The reason why I wouldn't want to go with this for all players is because, well, it's very good for advanced players like all of us on the stream probably. It's not the best one for like casual players or just the players that just started picking up the game, because they wouldn't understand why the glades aren't opening for them. So I would prefer to leave it as like a default mode basically for new players, and when they get good at the game, when they understand what those all options are about and when to use them, they will probably just move to this option themselves.
Okay. Was there any major change since the last experimental update? So
Okay.
the basics are the same. There are 3 small essential camps: the small trappers camp, small foragers camp, and small herbalists camp. They are available in every game from the very beginning, and they can only gather small nodes. So small gathering camps that you will have available in every game won't gather the large resource nodes, so the two by two nodes, and they won't gather the living organisms from the marshlands. So you need to take that into consideration.
So
Go on.
the main difference and the reason why we postponed the update, because system-wise, most of the feature was ready 2 weeks ago, but the reason why we've postponed it and the main change will be that we've rebalanced, or actually Aaron was kind to rebalance the nodes on all the biomes, because previously the eggs and roots were in this peculiar position that they were on all biomes, they were always available to collect, and they were like this foundation of your food economy, which was fine, I guess, but it always meant that those 2 resources were kind of different than others. So on the experimental branch, when we iterated it, I haven't really touched the balance of the nodes. I only changed the initial glades to give you a taste of how it would play with different resources on the initial glade. Now, like you can see, I have insects on my initial glade, which would never happen before because we couldn't know if you would be able to collect them, and you need some base food to survive before you open more glades. So the balance and the distribution of the resources is the main change, I would say. And also there are like few exchanges in like something that we talked about on Discord. So when you pick let's say trapper camp, it will replace the small trapper camp in blueprints menu, but also it will replace all the existing trapper camp, the small trapper camps with their larger version. So you don't have to go manually and replace them. So camp-wise, I would say that's the main difference, is that we've rebalanced the resources. I think the most changes will be around which nodes can be found on which biomes, and so it hasn't changed that much for Course Royal Woodlands and Royal Woodlands. But for example, the marshlands were a bit too meat oriented, and that could be good, but now they would be very much trapper oriented, so we had to spin it a bit. Yeah, so the game has it's a bit more consistent now when it comes to the usefulness of the different camps, because yeah, the trapper was a bit overused, I would say. Maybe that's not the best word. Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Okay, so maybe you focus on playing for a while.
Sure.
And you can also share some tips or thought process behind your certain decisions that you make.
Sure. Well, maybe one more option that we've added based on your feedback is that it's quite often that you want to remove all or add all the workers in the same time, and you can do it now by holding shift. You can remove all the workers, and again by holding shift when assigning them, you can assign them to the building. They can't show it because I don't have, well, maybe I can show it like that, but they won't replace the existing workers with the species that you've chosen from the menu, but they will only fill the empty spots.
Okay, we've got a question. Right now, there is a button to push the setting to all Woodcutters camps. Is that button no longer present? So in fact, this propagate button is no longer available, but you can still propagate this setting to all Woodcutters camp by holding Shift and clicking on the option.
Exactly. So because it was the Shift is much more comfortable than an additional button, but by doing it in a drop-down menu, we really wouldn't like we couldn't do it with the Shift. It was weird interaction, like pick a option from drop-down and hold Shift. It's a bit unusual. That's why we went with the button. But now we can just hold Shift and propagate it automatically. Yep. I really don't like any of those two, so I will roll. Yeah, this one is great. Let's see. Oh no, we won't go for that. But this is pretty good order, and also reveals one of the changes that we will make in the current update. It's a small change, but I hope it will clean up a bit the perks balance, because we took the time to go through all the perks in the game and adjust their rarity, their cost, and their, let's say, gameplay value to the to their actual effect. So let's say, like the most stark, the most obvious place where this was a problem was that, let's say we have a perk that gives 1 to the production of ale, and it was a green perk, right? And also we had 1 to plank production, and it also was a green perk. But 1 to plank production is great because it increases the production in crude workstation by 50%, right? So it's good, but 1 plus 1 to ale production, where all the buildings producing ale are producing 10 at once, was actually pretty bad, like, effect at all. Like I really didn't ever felt need to pick it. It was mainly us changing something a long time ago, and really we couldn't find time to fix it properly. So in this update, Natalia was kind enough to sit down, go through all the perks and adjust them a bit so they're all more meaningful and more coherent when it comes to the rarity and how strong they are.
Exactly. You should prepare for a lot of balance changes because this is like one of the another main highlights of this update. In order to make this new change, those small camps usable and not spoil the fun of the game, we had to make a lot of balance changes. We'll share the full update notes tomorrow when the update goes live, and I will share some sneak peeks today. Maybe not all specific balance changes, but some main highlights. In the meantime, let's say hi to everyone who just joined us on our stream. Thank you so much for joining. Wovin says, hello, greetings to the big boss Michał. That's right. That's Telhurin. He's a lead developer. He's always there for you on Discord. If you're not on Discord, I just shared the link in the chat. So join us. We try to hang out there every day. Recently, it's been harder to catch up with all the messages because of the release and the fact that we've been flooded with your feedback, suggestions, reports. We are trying to keep track of every suggestion that we get. But unfortunately, it's not always possible for us to reply to every single comment or message that we get, which is sad because we really like to hang out with you. Okay, so Another question from Mr. Bacon Strips. Do you improve the game solely on feedback now, or you still have some of your own origin ideas that you want to implement in the future as they are not yet in the game?
So the period after the release is always the most feedback based, if I can say that. So like we are currently in the phase when we are mostly implementing feedback, like reacting to your opinions, but also in the background we are always working on some new features because most of the large features are just too big to fit into the 2 week schedule. So I think we can make a small sneak peek that we are working, like actually it's in an advanced form, close to the being on the experimental branch. We're working on the, we can call it light iteration, but it's a bit more than that. So there's a lot of systems still, original systems coming from us, but it's usual that, especially in the period after the release, we are mostly releasing feedback-based features because there are just so many new users that have their own cool ideas and ideas how to improve the UX and gameplay. So why not to use it?
Yeah, so UX and UI changes there are plenty of UX and UI changes in tomorrow's update. We've already shared one of them on the stream. So the woodcutting options, instead of a drop-down list, which wasn't very popular among players, we made a list with a single option to choose from. We are grateful for all the suggestions that we got, especially on Discord after we shared a sneak peek of this new options panel for Woodcutters Camp. As always, we will look for feedback, see how you like the new feature, and if necessary, also change it, like we changed it 2 or 3 times already, this particular option. And we also added one option that was not available in the drop-down list, but was also heavily requested, and that is the 5th option. Sorry, forgot.
Only mark trees and avoid glades. It was a combination of 2 checkboxes, 2 toggles that we had before. So it was possible to use it. And I understand that some users just prefer it that way. So we've added it back.
But we also added a lot of new hotkeys. One of the most requested ones was the one for marking trees. And now when you press F by default, you enter the woodcutting mode. And if you press G, you will enter the clear tree marking mode. We also added a hotkey for building destruction mode. That's V by default. We also learned that this button for destroying buildings it's not that obvious that it exists. We've got a lot of questions that where's the option to destroy buildings? It's right there next to woodcutting modes. Okay, but other than that, we changed some hotkeys and added the ones that I mentioned. If there are any that you'd like to see in the game, please let us know, but also keep in mind that we've already that almost every key on the keyboard is now taken by some function. If you don't know all those functions, you can always go to settings or options. It's called options now. When you go to options, there is a separate tab for key bindings. That's also one of the recent changes. It was also suggested by the community that we should separate those tabs. So right now, when you enter options, you will have separate tabs for gameplay options, for keybinds, And speaking of new game options, gameplay options, we also added some new cool features like auto pause. So you can set the game to pause when certain event happen. For example, when there's a storm, or when you discover a normal glade, dangerous glade, forbidden glade, when trader arrives. So when you go to options, you can enable auto pause for particular events. And those are starting off each season, discovering each type of glade, and arrival of the trader. Okay, so Michał, how's it going? What's happening? Why don't you have any reputation points?
Okay, so on this difficulty level, I prefer to go slowly. I usually don't discover any glades before the second year, especially on the Crusader Woodlands, because you never know what you're gonna find there. So I wouldn't be hurry with the reputation. Like, we have everything we need to actually develop a booming economy without any additional buildings. So better safe than sorry. What I really want to is to complete those two perks and improve my building materials production. Actually, even more important than unlocking new buildings. It will be much more efficient that way. One more thing would be to make at least a bit of spark dew to prepare for some creepy events that we're gonna find here. Or at least we could potentially find. Okay, that one is obvious, because we are early in the game. The combing the forest is particularly good perk. As I started with humans and I have 9 of them, it's actually quite possible that I will be able to complete it early in the game. So I will go with that. That one is much easier, especially that I took the clothier, I think. Oh no, I did not. Vectors. Yeah, I did. So we're gonna go with the... It's a really good choice as well, the building materials. We don't have copper ore on this biome, so the packs of building materials will be a bit more difficult to do, but we have a carpenter, so we should be able to produce enough wood to do it.
Oh,
Okay.
you were browsing the workshops panel. Maybe
Okay.
let's explain one new feature, and that is the order of recipes.
I see. So currently the priorities work that in such a way that once you move the priority, you increase the priority enough to you can change the order of the recipes. So that gives you a better feel on the priority and the order in which the recipes will be completed. But you can also now disable it in the options. It will probably take a second to find it. It's in gameplay. Let's see.
There's a new tab, gameplay.
Oh, I completely forgot.
Yeah, because that's also a new thing.
Yeah, exactly. So we have few new ones here. We can change the clockwise building rotation. I'm not sure why originally I've implemented it counterclockwise. I mean, I know, because increasing the index rotated clockwise, but it's too late to change it because we all got used to it. So now it's an option, in the menu. If you're really bothered by the rotation, you can change it. It's probably too late for me. You can, and also there is this setting, you can disable the changing priority of the recipes, which was problematic because with the, I'm completely aware that, and it happened a few times to me as well, when you click very fast on one recipe, it actually changes the order beneath your mouse, and you can change the priority to something that you haven't planned. So for people who do it a lot and don't really care about it, about the layout, we've introduced the option.
Okay, so another question.
Yeah.
Regarding the world map modifiers from Eleonor. Sorry if I mispronounced it. Do you want to say a word yet on the map modifier brainstorm session on Discord? Did you get anything useful out of that yet? So first of all, we want to thank everyone who participated already in the community brainstorm. And if you don't know, a few days ago, we announced the first community brainstorm since the Steam release. Community brainstorms are discussion sessions during which we ask you specific, we ask about your suggestions for specific aspects of the game. And this time we asked about new world map modifiers. Honestly, I didn't expect to get so many ideas. On Discord, it's like, I don't know, hundreds already, I think, or maybe not, but we are getting very close to that number or past that number. It's hard to keep track. We didn't decide on any modifier yet, so we're still giving you some time, and then we'll collect all the ideas from various sources, because the brainstorm is happening on Discord, Reddit, and Steam discussions. We'll put together a list and we'll discuss it internally after some time. We mainly asked about that because world map modifiers are one of the things that we listed on the roadmap. And if you haven't seen our roadmap yet, I just put a link in the chat. So world map modifiers are one of the features that are coming in future updates. And so we want, before we start working on them, we just wanted to ask, what would you like to see? What cool modifiers you would like to see in the game? So we don't have any specific picks yet, but we'll probably look into them in a couple of days. Right now we were focused on this camps update. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention why it's called camps update part 1. Because right now we changed the system, but in camps update part 2, we also want to change camps visually. Right now, we received a lot of feedback that camps are quite similar to each other, not that easily recognizable. And so we want to add more uniqueness to them, more personality to those buildings. So right now, Damian, behind our backs, is working on those new modules, new camps. So in 2 weeks, we'll also change camps visually. We also wanted to give you the chance to share your feedback regarding the camps before we make ground visual changes to them as well. Okay, so Iseus says, hi all, great stream once again. Thank you, Iseus, and happy birthday. I know you had birthday recently, so all the best to you. Let's move on to the next question. I'll take this one as well. It's from Schubert. Since the music man is now a permanent part of the team, will we get some more music? Yes, Mikołaj,
we know that's you asking. Like we told you already.
More
music.
Of course, Schubert. It's probably Mikołaj just,
in disguise, wanting to.
In disguise.
Tracks.
creating noise in social media that, oh, Against the Storm needs more music, you need to hire me full time. It worked, apparently. But yes, jokes aside, Mikołaj Kurpios, that's the name of the composer and sound producer, joined us last month, and I know he's keen on creating new music. I've heard some unpublished material. I know he wants to work on it and share more music with you later. Right now
I
we're
think with
all
the Moorlands update, he introduced quite a bit of new tracks. I think like 4 or 5 new tracks. So I think that will become a standard.
Yep. Yeah, it will happen. New music will happen. Yep. Okie dokie. So yes, there are hotkeys. Sorry, I'm catching up with chat messages. In the meantime, maybe Michał, let's guide us through what's happening on the screen.
It's actually really calm. Like this is very how to say it, calm and relaxing biome. So for a second, I thought that I'm going to open another Glade, but oh, that would be a problem. That actually got us by surprise. Let's see what we can do with it. Oh, we can deliver now. Okay, all hands on deck. Because it's probably one of the things that are long due, but we've postponed it because of the rework of the Blight Drop. Is that it would be great to have some way to quickly say, without checking the overlay, how far are you, like how close are you to the amount of light rod cysts that will overwhelm the firekeeper and kill the villagers. Because sometimes in some scenarios it's exactly what happened here. So you're like 30 seconds before the storm, and I haven't checked the cysts, and I wasn't ready. So let's see what happens. We should be good. Maybe one of the things that we could do is increase the level of the hearth to increase its resistance, but I'm not sure if it's gonna be enough. So let's see.
Okay, thank you for following us, Lumko and Hydra Salza. Sorry if I mispronounce it. Cersei, Mr. Bacon Strips, Dark Murder, Salted Oil, Evidovi, Jacerco, Mike Lemmer, Telvas, Kizofiva, Eleonore, Schubert, German, Gary Oak, Quisin Toki, Mecorp, Clementine Heaven, Lilantus, Jolly Nodler, Metal Space Dust, Dryel, and Schmael, Berkia, and everyone else who also followed us recently. This means a lot. Thank you very much for following us here and for supporting us during the development. Yeah, and Emi Tesuka. And actually, I think I had a question from you. Yeah, how is your work-life balance right now? I can't imagine how you managed to fit so many cool changes into a 2-week release cycle. I hope you aren't crunching. Take care of yourselves, please, especially since Michał is apparently your only developer. Yes, that's right, Michał is the only developer.
But to be honest, in teams like ours, like when you have 5 or 6 people, in most cases you have only one of everything. So if, I don't know, Jean, who's behind me, would break his arm, we wouldn't get any new textures for half a year or something. So the code seems important, but I think it's the same for everyone. We really wouldn't want anything to happen to anyone.
Yeah, exactly. And if I break my arm, Probably chatbot AI would have to write posts for Aerobyte games. Yeah, it works surprisingly good. Yeah, but back to the question, I think we're doing okay when it comes to work-life balance. Actually, Michał just went to the gym a few hours before. We try to not overwork ourselves. So yeah, I think we're all in a pretty good condition. Of course, around the release time was more difficult for us. There's always something to do. There's always too many questions, or maybe not too many, but more than we can possibly answer, sadly. But other than that, I think we're all doing pretty fine. And we've been doing those updates for quite a while now. I don't know if you know, but Against the Storm was also available on Epic Games Store before for around a year. And we've been releasing bi-weekly updates for 13 months now. So this is actually around 27 or 28 bi-weekly update. We never skipped a date, and we learned how to deliver them on time, how to combat feature creep. Our producer Aaron, who was on a previous stream, he really likes to. He prefers to schedule fewer features rather than make us work over hours. So, yep, I think we're doing just fine. Thanks for asking, though. I really appreciate it, and all of us really appreciate it. And I must also say that we are very grateful for all of you being so kind and helpful on Discord, Steam discussions, Reddit. I'm following all the threads, but even though I cannot reply to all of them, I see that you always help by providing some guidelines, suggestions. So this is very cool, and we are super grateful for that.
Yeah, it's incredibly helpful. Yep.
So the question maybe for you: why square-based instead of hex-based? The game. Why do we have square tiles?
The game itself. To be honest, I never actually thought about hex-based grid for a city builder.
There are some, but I think
there are some, but they are, at least as far as I know, they go into the direction of, let's say, civilization, where you put one building on a one grid, and it's cool. It's like there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but we really wanted to give this feel of old city builder, of old strategy games. I don't know, like Knights and Merchants. I know it's super super old and weird, but really wanted to give this vibe of this classic game, small classic game with modern mechanics and modern approach to UX and player engagement and how we interact with games today as players, right? So probably we just didn't even thought about making it hex-based. But on the other hand, the hexes were great for the world map. Our previous game was basically built on hexes, so I know the hexagons are the best hexagons, but we we really stick with the regular grid for this one.
Okay, so thanks High Rolls for following us, and let's move on to another question from Umber Eternus. Are we going to be having further building levels for the smoldering city, filling out the spaces in some of the buildings of the city, or even increasing the max level of the city even higher? So I don't think we have new upgrade levels on the roadmap. But I think they will come with other features. For example, when we release new species, I'm pretty sure they will increase the number of upgrades in the smoldering city. For example, for a species-specific house, or or unlocking the species. This is my guess. So
I think we talked about it once on Discord that the direction of the upgrades in the smoldering city is that we first want to complete this slow ongoing process of getting rid of the a bit boring and maybe not very popular upgrades. Sorry. So, but like back in the days, we had option to unlock buildings in the smoldering city. It was fine.
Building blueprints, right?
Yes. Sorry, because it was quite a long time ago, and we moved to the like. We abandoned this idea because in the game, like Against the Storm, one of the sources of challenge and difficulty is that the content is growing, the number of buildings is growing, the number of species is growing, and the meta was to not picking some of the buildings, most of the buildings, just picking power and the best buildings. That's why we moved away from it. Now you passively gain buildings and unlock, and also like there was a lot of feedback about the meta not being not being fun enough, which I completely get. Like we are kids, who grown up on classical RPGs, so we really like numbers and power growing. So I completely get that. That's why we moved the smoldering city to the power upgrades basically, and all the content unlocking went to the levels, which you can basically stop or avoid. But by doing that, we introduced some less than optimal, a bit boring upgrades in the Citadel. And since then, it's like happening for, I don't know, half a year or something. We are slowly replacing, by adding new features, we are slowly replacing the old and boring upgrades with more exciting stuff. And the idea is to have, for each upgrade, is to have one stats for people who enjoy stats, like Diamond, for example. If you don't get like 1% to basically anything, you won't ever buy it, no matter how good is the main part of the upgrade. And also, each upgrade in the Citadel contains like a larger feature, like systemic change. For example, the consumption control ended up as a Citadel upgrade. So when we fill everything in that matter, so when we finish this transition to one stat and one like larger systemic upgrade, we will start introducing new levels and new unlocks. For more advanced players, it will probably mean just going to the Citadel and clicking for spending one of your 10,000 food supplies or something, but we will extend it slowly as soon as everything is on the same level. Because even now, I can see that some of the upgrades are much less popular than others, and we would want to equalize that and make sure everyone is at least in the same bracket, let's say, at least in some way. Sorry, that was long, but that answers the question, I think.
That's great. That's awesome. Eleanor asks, if there is no themed map yet, that could be a new map type at some point. So some people say that the marshlands look like they're covered in snow, although they are not. I don't think we are going to add snow-themed maps because of the rain and buildings that are related to rain. I know we could probably think of something, but on the other hand, I don't know if our friends from 11-bit Studios would like the fact that we're just making Frostpunk alongside them.
I mean, never say never, but
exactly,
there are no plans currently for that.
Yep.
Maybe it could be fun.
But yeah, it could be fun. There are some things preventing us from doing that, but I understand why this would be cool. So, Fantasyman asks, can we get an interface for all the materials stuck in different buildings? Sometimes I'm low on food or something and then realize that my packing station has 50 food in inventory. So you Michał, think about the answer, and I will share that we have a really cool feature suggestion, feature request tool. It's Upvote, and I think I have the link here. Nope, it's not this one. Upvote?
How many?
Okay, I don't remember. Yeah, okay, this one will work. I just shared a link to our feature request board. So for such specific feature requests, like an overlay for goods stored in internal storages, I think this tool works great. You can post any idea there, other people can vote for it, and this gives us a better understanding of what the community as a whole would like to see in the game the most. So we always try to prioritize the ones that are highly upvoted. So yeah, I recommend using this tool, voting for the ideas that you care about, and posting your own ideas. In the meantime, Michał, I don't know if you have any thoughts about that.
Okay. Yeah, so this is a bit problematic. I mean, design-wise problematic. We can of course add some another window where you can preview it, but some of you actually noticed that there are a bit of problems. I don't know problems if correct word, but it's a bit weird how the production works when you turn on a lot of ingredients. Like if you because we optimize for like from the design and code perspective, we are trying to optimize the production, like the production in the buildings. I mean, for example, villagers will take as much stuff as they can carry. Like literally, if you have playing on moorlands, and you have like I don't know plus 50 to the capacity, and you have 2 workers, they will each will take 50 roots and take them to the rain mill, just so they don't they optimize as much as they can to minimize the logistics of walking and transporting stuff. That means, like you said, you can end up with a lot of materials hidden here, especially if you turn on all the ingredients. Like some of the recipes have like 6 or more ingredients, and it can be a bajillion of stuff here. So we could add a preview, another window, which I'm not super fan of because there is like limited amount of stuff you can add here. But we could do it. But what I would love to do is take a bit of time and maybe figure out a better way to approach this problem, like a better way to keep the physicality of current system, because at least for me it's very important that this part of the game is very physical, that you can see them carrying all this stuff in their hands, and the logistics of it matter, simple as it is. So is there a way to keep that feeling and have it a bit organized a bit better? So if we fail, if we don't get to some better idea, if we don't come up with something, we'll probably do something in that matter. Maybe some global overview of production, because the recipes window is great. I can't recommend it enough. Trying to figure out the production network that you have in your village, but there is also like one more probably one more preview, one more like pop-up missing, where you can manage the production like top down. I'm still not sure how to approach this topic. I really hate moving the gameplay from the the game world to the overlay pop-ups, but we probably will be forced to do it with this one. So that's a long answer, but to short it out, we'll first try to figure out a better way to manage the ingredients. And then if we fail, we'll probably implement some larger pop-up that will allow you to manage the production and the ingredients. When this will happen, I have no idea, because we have like long stream of things to do on our list. But it's something we keep in our mind.
Yeah, there are a lot of exciting things coming during early access. Some of the features that we confirmed are new species, new world map modifiers that you are now helping us create during community brainstorm. Yeah, so a lot of things coming, but we also left some development gaps for community-inspired suggestions. And as it was noted somewhere in the chat, we do like to accredit community for suggestions that were directly inspired by your feedback. So whenever you go to patch notes and see a lightning icon, it means that this particular change was inspired by the community. Yeah, other things that are coming are, well, things like new perks, new systems, new Glade events, Twitch integration. So in a few months, when we will have another stream, maybe you will be able to influence the game or things like that. We'll see about that. Okay. So what do we have here? Another question. A lot of kind words from Metal Space Dust. Thank you for amazing game. Yeah, thank you very much for believing in us, supporting us, sharing your suggestions. Ami Tesuka says, I know I abused the F11 key a lot. Sorry for contributing to the deluge of questions you can't answer, I guess. We get all the reports on Discord. This channel is pretty swarmed with reports, but we keep track of all of them. In the past few days, we moved some of the team members to checking the contact on our Discord. So all the reports from the in-game reporter, we're on track. I think right now we managed to read all the stuff that's in there. Yeah, there was a question from Ron Empire. Ron Empire is playing a lot of Against the Storm on streams. He's one of the top streamers for Against the Storm. Thank you, Ron, for playing. The question, the queen looks like a Jabba Hutt. Is there future reveals to her backstory? I don't know. We like to keep some mystery around the Scorched Queen. But I guess that probably sometime in the future we'll need to share more backstory to her. Who knows, maybe in this project or another project. We'll see about that. And another question regarding the story from West StarCraft Now. We StarCraft Now. Yeah, we StarCraft Now. Do you guys intend on making a story mode type of thing where it maintains the roguelite atmosphere but trends toward an ultimate goal? Michał?
Okay, so half a year ago, I would say definitely not. Nowadays, it's like I would never promise that, but also I wouldn't be surprised if we do it. One of the things like we are most scared of is that the single biggest mistake people make when they create story for their games is that they do it at the end of the project. And I think most of the writers, which I'm definitely not, would agree on that. And we would go for exactly that. We would need to create a story for a game. I mean, we have a lore. We know why you're here. We know a lot about this world, but we would need to create a story. And story requires characters, requires arc, and it could be difficult to add it, like to add it like in, I don't know, in a good manner, like a good story. But on the other hand, like we all would love to. Like we would all love to explore the world, tell more about it, especially that there is this thing that we kind of never promised, but we know that we will have to approach someday. Is the game ending? Like there won't ever be a moment when the game is like, oh, you've done, like your save is finished, you're never gonna play again. But we still lack this. Okay, I've beat the game. I've actually finished it. There's Prestige 20, but it's not the same as game saying, yeah, you've actually beat the game. Good for you. Like in any way. So maybe that would be a great opportunity to at least try a story, but we are very reluctant because I would rather have no story than a bad story. Again, I hope it answers the question.
I think it answers the question perfectly. Are there any plans to tweak the reward hostility balance between the small and more dangerous glades?
Okay. So my personal opinion is that it's actually in a good spot. Well, I've talked about it a few times on the Discord already, but we can talk it again. So we were in a place where, like, around a year ago, where it was more like in this balance, the small glades were winning, and it was actually a horrible place because Against the Storm is a game about choices, but it's also a game about taking risks and challenges. And in my opinion is that if you don't take the challenge, like the challenge of opening a large glade and dealing with whatever is there, you have to pay the price other way. So answering your question, I think that the balance will change a bit now that because with the camp changes is that you will find much fewer small nodes on the dangerous glades. So by opening a small glade, you will always get something on the large glade as well, but it will shift the balance a bit, and I think that will be enough. Like currently, it's not something that I would tweak in the direction of the small glades, because the alternative to the current situation is much worse. It's not taking risk. It's just playing boring games actually. If the balance is shifted, I know we can talk how much we can shift it.
Okay.
But as always, just so you understand, as always, we are like super eager to hear what you think about it, and we can always experiment on experimental. For us, experimental is a perfect place to test some demo ideas and throw it out after 2 days. So
yeah, exactly.
We can test it someday.
Tomorrow's camps update was actually tested before on the experimental update. So we also want to thank everyone who participated who played the experimental update and shared your thoughts. It always helps a lot to learn what you think, what are your suggestions. Okie dokie. Hello and thank you for the game, says OwenCan11. When workers move goods from camp or some place to warehouse, sometimes they just move 1 or 2 things just because the goods are different type. Can it become just depends on the worker's carryability, like move 5 but maybe different stuff? Thanks. So we know that logistics is also one of the more requested like changes to the game. Highly upvoted on our feature request. I think Michał constantly thinks about it.
Could you repeat the question?
So it's about moving things from storages, from internal storages. Like you can move.
Oh, okay. It's that topic. Yeah, we definitely have it, I would say, on our roadmap, but I'm not sure if it's if it's doable without breaking the game. Like always, we can talk about it, but the fantasy behind it is super simple. Like I have a, let's say I have a forager here, he has vegetables and he'll store it here. So, and also I have a field kitchen and I want to put the field kitchen near the forager. So when they take basically the, let's say for the pickled goods, they will take the vegetables from the small forager's camp, right? It's simple, it works in many games, and it makes a lot of sense, like mentally, right? You put a grain mill near the small farm. The problem is that in our game is that the economy is much more distributed, and because of the exploration, you can't really tell where this building will move. So I put it here, and it makes a lot of sense. It will work like that. But then I will move it here, and because I don't know, I found more vegetables, this node is depleted or something, and now it becomes a problem. Yeah, I could move the field kitchen because it's a small building, but if I would have, for example, I have a granary here, I think, you can't move granary. And even if you could, maybe you have one node here and one node here and two different foragers. So, and I know that there are, you know, ways to do it. Like we could, because the worst option is that this guy doesn't wait. Like, let's say I have a forager here and he's collecting vegetables somewhere here, and this guy has a storage. Let's say this is a storage, and this guy doesn't wait for this tip to move the vegetables to the main storage. It will be much faster to collect from here. No, he goes all the way, let's say, I don't know, here or whatever. He goes on the other side of the map because he spotted like two vegetables somewhere there. So we probably would need to introduce it, and this is even more obvious with the farms, because like they won't ever move. Like you will have one farm here and one farm here. So like what's the best spot to put the rain mill? Like in between, I think maybe here, and this farm will produce something else. And what I wanted to say is that we will try to come up with some solutions. We will try to find a way how to implement it in a way that it fulfills this fantasy, this, you know, the feeling that you have. It should work like that, right? It just should work like that, but without breaking the logistics too much. Like we've tried, we were in this position with the house rework like a half a year ago, where everyone was like, they should just go rest to their houses, right? Like if the guy works here, I want him to go to the nearest house, his house, and rest there, right? And it had perfect sense, like fantasy wise, but in the end ended up in this horrible puzzle that's every time you move the building, everything changed, and you had to rearrange the houses just so to keep it optimal. Like in regular city builders, you very so like you're not moving the buildings so much, and you already know from the beginning how your production will more or less look. Like you are the one planning that you're gonna plant here the vegetables and maybe harness some grain here, so you can create this network on your own, and then it works. But when the game surprises you every 3 minutes with another logistic puzzle, it becomes nightmarish, I think. So answering the question, I'm sorry, it again took like 5 minutes. We'll try, but there is some inherent problem with it, and we will have to figure out how to avoid it without, you know, adding the complexity, because that's something I would really want to avoid, like to build another overlay or another layer of the game that makes the game more complicated, let's say, less clear.
Thank you, Michał, and thank you for the question. Yeah, this is something that we constantly keep in mind, and I'm not lying. Michał is always like thinking about logistics and returning to the logistics topic, even if we don't talk about it, like randomly talking about logistics. But yeah, let's move on to the next question. Or maybe let's back to the previous one about the small and larger glades, because there was some additional feedback here in the chat regarding the glades. If anything, small glades might give less hostility but less resources inside too. This is something that I wanted to talk a little bit more, because in tomorrow's update we are slightly rebalancing the node layout of almost all glades in the game. So we are reducing the number of small nodes in dangerous and forbidden glades and increasing the number of large nodes in dangerous and forbidden glades.
Who put it here?
Yeah. More about that in tomorrow's update notes. I'm surprised you don't ask me about some additional features from tomorrow's update. Yeah, let's see if there's anything that we haven't mentioned yet, aside from multiple bug fixes and smaller balance changes that are not worth mentioning. So Homestead. We updated recipes in Homestead. I don't know if you have it in the game.
Yeah, we basically forgot about Homestead when we've changed the farms. Like we increased the duration, like the time it takes to plant and harvest, and we've increased the yield. We just forgot about Homestead.
Yeah, so in tomorrow's update, we're updating the recipes in the Homestead. So grain 3 stars, plant fiber 3 stars, vegetables 2 stars, mushrooms 2 stars. Okie dokie. What else? What do we have here? Tutorial games are no longer counted towards player statistics in the Smoldering City, so skipping tutorial won't count as a loss. This is one of the first negative reviews we've got, is that the game is fun, but skipping tutorial counts toward loss and breaks the statistics. So if anyone wants to do a 100% win run or play the game without any losses, then skipping a tutorial will break that ratio. So yeah, we changed it, and now it won't happen again.
It's only for the new players, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We can change it for existing saves. If someone is really, really bothered with it, I can change it manually, but it's not retroactive. Okay, so what's happening, Michał? What's happening on the screen? How are we doing? Actually, we've done a lot of talking and not enough playing, so it hasn't moved that much. I have some crude plan how we're gonna proceed. So we're gonna try to go for the brick oven. We'll just need to find some way to make flour, because I don't think we have it. Yeah. Oh, actually we do. Perfect. So we are all set up with the stamping mill. In the meantime, and then we're gonna get the free jerky. So everything should be pretty okay. What is the Scorched Queen's favorite food? I think it's Marmite. Also, the existence of Marmite in Against the Storm World confirmed on stream. Thank you once again for all your kind words. I'm trying to search for questions, but I see a lot of very kind stuff. Thank you, Tila Xian, for following us. Eki time. I'm not gonna try. It's too hard. But thank you everyone who followed us recently.
and also Maki, no idea, but yep, thank you. Thank you for following. Okay. Can you already tell something about the new race? Will it be one who haven't made it into the game last time or something completely new? This is the question that we were asking ourselves pretty recently because, and now I will be 100% frank, we don't have our internal picks yet. There are some ideas on the table, things that we considered in the past, including Numbats that lost to Harpies in the previous community vote. We certainly do consider Numbats. We're thinking about some other species based on real life animals, but also more different approach to new species. For example, maybe some automatons or robots or things like that. But honestly, we don't have like a specific list yet. We are still giving ourselves some time to think about it, to make up our minds, and then we'll probably reduce the number of choices to 2 and let you vote for the one that will then be added to the game.
But it's definitely a tough question. Is one of the new species propositions, is it going to be Numbats? Because I, for once, have a great affection for them, and we promise that we are going to see them again. But also, it takes one of 2 spots, so gonna see. But as Luke said, in the end, it will come down to popular vote. I love democracy.
Yeah, the previous community vote for Numbats, for Harpies or Numbats was also popularly called waifus versus Batmans. Yeah, maybe this time the choice will be much harder.
I feel offended.
So, did Luke mention anything about saving records of the run like in Slay the Spire? So there are statistics.
Statistics or like option to replay them or come back to them, which both are cool, but
Yeah, what I meant is that there are statistics in the Smoldering City. You can see how many games you've played, how many you've won, and how much time you've spent, things like that. But it's not like you can go back to a settlement or check settlements statistics. Are there any plans to rebalance Polish trade routes?
trade goods.
Trade routes.
Oh, trade routes. I know there's a lot of feedback around let's allow let's allow having trade routes for anything else, and not only for Amber. Is that it, or you mean like it's unbalanced now and you would want to see some changes around it? Because no, we are not playing any balance changes to the trade route themselves, but maybe we should. So no, I'm not sure if I got the question right.
Yeah, so Mike, because that was a question from Mike Lemmer, if you can share some more thoughts about the question, then probably it will help us answer. Do we plan any streams in Polish? I don't know, maybe. Because we are from Poland, Wrocław to be precise. Yeah, I don't know. For now, we focus on the English language because this is the primary language for all our player base. We'll see. You can meet us on a in real life live stream on some Polish events. We are probably going to attend, I don't know, Digital Dragons or Poznań Game Arena. We will be sharing all the information about events that we participate in person on Discord and places. So social media, stuff like that. Are there any plans for post-win continuation of a settlement, like something to do in a settlement after filling the reputation bar? That could have some limited effect on the meta progression. This is from Wally, another very dedicated Against the Storm content creator. I think Wally holds the record for the number of videos, and he also recently started a series of tutorial videos for Against the Storm. So if you feel like you could learn something new regarding particular features or systems that you haven't mastered yet, then you should definitely go to Wally 1169 channel on YouTube for those tutorial videos. But back to the question, because for now, when you finish the settlement, when you win the settlement, you are no longer able to get experience level Citadel resources from Glade events. Yeah, and this is definitely by design. But the question is it going to change? Are we going to have some additional activities to do after winning the settlement?
Okay, so I know that it drops quite a lot, but for me it's a bit deeper question. Will the game ever be playable as a bit more of a classical city builder? Which the answer is probably not. And back to the main question is that, and why it probably ever won't be played as a classical city builder is that all the time we would need to pour to have the Against the Storm as a good classical city builder in a sense, like I don't know, Timberborn is good classical city builder. All this time we would need to take away from the feature that makes Against the Storm. So and back to the question, the post game, I don't think it will happen anytime soon. Like we promised some way to play a custom mode, like but it's not the same. Like I because from what I understand, Wally, you are talking about let's give us some challenges and some content after the challenges and the content is over, and then that's why it comes back to this question of is it ever going to be a city builder, like classical city builder? Probably we won't add too many features post game, because every minute we will spend on post game features will be the minutes we haven't spent on like the core gameplay, the Against the Storm itself. And in the end, Against the Storm, like it's not a great city builder on its own. Like you have much better games if you want like classical management game without any jumble and weird stuff and wrong like elements. And it's obvious why, right? Because if we spend considerable amount of time that we would normally put to management, to all the city builder mechanics, we've ported into the roguelike elements, to challenges, to exploration, to meta progression. And I don't think it will ever change. Like, I don't think we'll be in the comfortable position in such we could divert our time to like more classical city builder stuff or things outside the core. I think that the team is too small to ever achieve that. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe it's just me being gloomy, and we'll have a lot of time, and we will invest in that. And I'm saying that because there are like tons of features that we would want to change, improve in this core gameplay itself. Like, for example, factions, the world map, the logistics, the events themselves. Like, there's so much to do in this core gameplay itself that we never like feel it's time to it's justifiable to sit down and do this a bit, off track features. So I hope it doesn't sound too bad. I hope you will forgive us, but I don't think it will happen soon. Maybe someday. Who knows? Even the Slay the Spire did endless mode eventually, so who knows? But there are currently no plans to that. There are some plans for custom mode, so like you can, I don't know, specify how long the game will be played. I hope I didn't spill the beans. But post-win content, I'm not sure. I don't even have ideas how to approach this topic, to be honest.
Okay, that was a question from Wally. Thank you, Wally, for everything Wally. You do and how you support us. It means a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of talk about water content, lakes, fishing. Those are in top 10 most requested features. We have lakes with exclamation mark,
video,
buildings that use water, fishing, fish-based events. Yeah, we know this is something that you'd like to see in the game. Who knows? It's not on our roadmap, but it's on top of feature requests. So, like it or not, we see it every day. Yeah. So we keep it in mind. We'll see about that. So, Michał, do you think you will be able to finish the map during the stream?
Oh, no way. I haven't even finished the first square order, to be honest. I mean, we would win eventually, but the game is just the background currently.
Yeah.
I'm to be honest.
When stream ends, you will have 6 impatience points and 0 reputation points.
Perfect.
That says a lot about your skills, the skills of developers who make the game.
That's the meta. We are just lowering the hostility, that's all. We'll probably also lower the amount of villagers in our town, but that's another story. See, we won't. We will have our reputation point. We are getting there, just in our own pace.
Okay. As we will be probably slowly heading towards the end of the stream, let me please remind you that the update is going to be released tomorrow, sometime between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. UTC. Please make sure to finish your current settlements. Otherwise, they will have to be force finished when the update goes live. You will be reimbursed with citadel resources, but still, if you have some ongoing deeds that you want to complete in this particular game, or things you want to achieve, then please try to finish the settlement before tomorrow's update. We will share the full update notes tomorrow when the update goes live. We already shared some of the things that will be added there. The main highlight are the camps changes. So the essential small camps that will now be available in every game and will allow you to collect small resource nodes, small food nodes. So the small trappers camp, small foragers camp, and small herbalists camp. We also rebalanced the game to make sure that this change, to make the game still fun despite that big change, because it certainly is a big game-changing change. Game-changing change. I like that. Copyright. Also, we're changing the drop-down list in Woodcutters Camp to a list of modes, which you can select one of those, and it will be the one that the current Woodcutters Camp is using. But you can also hold Shift when selecting the mode, and it will propagate this setting to all existing Woodcutters Camps. I think there was a question on Discord. Would it be possible to change, like, would it be possible if you propagate this setting that this will change for all future camps, Woodcutters camps? But we also have the option in the game's options to change the default, to pick the default mode. So when you go to game's options, you can choose your favorite, most commonly used Woodcutters option, and all new Woodcutters camps will have this option as a default. And yeah, so this is about Woodcutters camps and small camps. So from other changes, fully depleted ore will now disappear from the map. We updated the recipes in Homestead. Forbidding services in the consumption control panel will no longer apply a resolve penalty if there is no corresponding service building in the settlement. The archaeologist's office is now movable. We decreased the rewards for solving the living matter Glade event. Okay, not gonna go further into the balance changes, but maybe something from the UX improvements. We're also adding the auto pause feature for certain events. So when you go to game's options to the new gameplay tab tomorrow, you will be able to set a auto pause for certain events, like discovering different types of glades, seasons changing, or trader arrival. We added an option to the settings menu to disable recipe reordering based on priority. We showed how it works. Yep, the clockwise rotation. We are adding information about specific effects blocking sacrifice to the sacrifice panel in the ancient hearth. We are adding a tooltip to the sell button when a trade route cannot be started. The tooltip will state the exact reason why the trade route cannot be started. So like the limit reached, not enough provisions, etc. And more. And also the hotkeys. The one of the biggest UX additions are new hotkeys for marking trees, that's F by default, clearing tree markings, that's G by default, building destruction mode, V by default. You can of course change it in the key binding section in options. Yep. And there was another question regarding camps update part 2, is it going to be like the main feature, the visual change of camps? Because tomorrow we are changing the system. We are adding small camps, but in camps update part 2, we also want to change them visually to make them more unique and recognizable, to give them more personality. So in camps update part 2, the visual change will be probably the main highlight, although of course, like with other updates, we also try to add different things from different areas of the game. So aside from the visual change, you will also get some gameplay features. I think we're aiming for perks, right? We're probably going to add new perks in the next or future update, and also new portion of UX and UI features. The next update will happen around the holidays. So probably it will either be smaller or the next one will be smaller, because the team will have to take some time off to spend with the family. So, but we will try to make those updates exciting nevertheless. Okie dokie. So, Michał, I think we are going to wrap it up soon. It's time for the last questions, chat. So if you have anything particular in mind. Okay. Does the development roadmap is shared to public? If yes, where can I see it? Okay, I see Dan Valley already answered that question. There is a roadmap available on our website. You can see what we have in plans for the future updates. Yup. Are there going to be in-game cosmetics for Christmas content? I don't know. Maybe I'm adding it to the suggestions list because this really sounds fun. We'll see. Are there any plans to add a UI panel to show every building you already have built and to show all your villagers and where they are working? So I think I have a good news for you. I think this is, I'm not sure if this is what particularly you want, but I think it's already in the game. If you hold Alt, it will show. Michał, could you hold Alt?
Yeah, but I think it's about something more, about a top-down view of your production, like pop up with everything, basically. And like, yeah, we need something like that, but it's also, there are a lot of different things that people have in their mind when they are talking about production overview. Because, for example, would you really need to have the overview of all the villagers? In our game, like in Against the Storm, you don't really assign particular people to particular workplaces, and there exists the state of the single villager, but it mostly represents how you treat the species as a whole, or maybe where this particular person is working in. So one of the questions would be, is it really needed to have the overview of all the villagers? But I completely understand the need for some overview of the production, and then we'll try to figure out something, because I understand the need. Basically, I know it's needed. I know it could ease the mental load the game produces, and it's quite a lot of it, and it could give you another tool to manage your town, basically. So yeah, I think it will happen, but we don't have any estimations when.
Question from Angry Tetris. Does holding Alt work with the new hotkey of holding Shift to fully assign and unassign all work in sim building?
I hope you won't, I don't know, you don't have any shortcut assigned in your system for it. Yeah, but it works.
Okay, so that will be it. If you have any, standing orders that you can complete, please do it. If not, we are just finishing as it is right now. It was a pleasure once again to have you all on stream and to answer your questions, to interact. We are super grateful for all the suggestions that we are getting on Steam, Discord, Reddit, anywhere. Email, in-game reporter. There are so many messages from you. We are grateful for each of those. Thank you for testing the camp's update on the experimental branch. It helps us a lot. Thank you for participating in the community brainstorm and sharing your ideas for possible new world map modifiers. Some small announcements. Yesterday, there was a full launch of Kainga, another roguelite city builder game from our friendly developer Eric. He's a single developer working on Kainga, and there is a Against the Storm and Kainga bundle. So if you already have if you already have Against the Storm, you can get Kainga even cheaper. I recommend checking that. I shared the link in the chat. Kinda, no, not Kinga, not kinda, Kainga. Maybe I'm mispronouncing it. Yeah, but it's Kainga. Yep. Yeah, I think that's it from all the announcements. Make sure to finish your settlements and tune in tomorrow between 2 and 4 p.m. UTC for the patch notes. And yeah, that's it. Thank you very much. Thank you, Michał, for sharing all your thoughts. This was really something. I really like to invite different members of the team here to Livestream because everyone has a different perspective on various aspects of the game. It was super fun to hear from you. And okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
See you next time. Have a great day and enjoy tomorrow's update.
See ya.
Bye-bye.